Cataclysm is coming, and alongside it comes a completely overhauled pet system. So what pet should you go for, okay? Before you understand that, there is two systems you gotta see so you can figure it out. First of all, there is three specs for a pet. You got Ferocity, you got Cunning, and you got Tenacity, okay? Ferocity is the traditional DPS one, it does the most damage, really. Then you got Cunning, it's okay. And the last one is Tenacity, that's your tank pets, that's the gorilla, that's the turtle, stuff like that. They are pretty useless for you. So all things equal, you want a Ferocity pet. But of course, if you look at the length of this video, there is much more to it, okay? So what's happening there? Second is that if you are Beastmaster, you got a couple options that other hunters don't. And what are those options, okay? The most important job of a hunter pet is actually not necessarily the damage, it is the buffs, okay? The way it works in Cataclysm is that the hunter can provide pretty much almost any buff or debuff in the game. So if you're missing Wind Fury, get a pet. You're missing Demoralizing Shout, get a pet, stuff like that. So what you're gonna have to do is take whatever pet your raid is missing, whatever buff your raid is missing. Of course, we know that we need a Ferocity pet for our damage, and we need the buff that we need too. So let's go over the ideal scenario first. What are the Ferocity pets that got useful buffs that you might need? First of all, the Wolf has 5% crit, that's a fairly easy one to come by, so you probably are not gonna need it. Raptors have an armor reduction of 20%, so you might need this one. Cats have the strength and agility buff. Hyenas have the 30% bonus bleeding damage like Mangle, super important for some classes, not really for you. Tall Striders and Foxes, those are the plain Strider guys, you know those guys, and Foxes are the new pet for Cataclysm. They have a 20% attack speed reduction like Thunderclap, which is super important. And Carrion Birds, on the other hand, the counterpart, they have 10% physical damage reduction like Demo Shout, so you get those two together and you get a warrior. But it doesn't really end there, because if you're Beastmaster, you get access to the super broken Core Hound, okay? The Core Hound can do a Curse of Tongues, that is a casting speed slow, mobs are gonna cast slower, and it is an AoE this time, so it is super important. And it also has Bloodlust. If you refuse to take Shamans and Mages into your raid because you hate killing bosses, maybe you wanna get this guy. But it doesn't stop there either, because Ferocity now also has the cutest pet in the game, the Teromot. Oh yeah, the mod. This guy has an interrupt, okay? He's trying, okay? He's doing his best right there. Now, it is pretty useless in 25 man, not gonna lie, but in 10 man, interrupts are kinda hard to come by, you need a lot of them. So, in some fights, it might make sense to take a mod. And that's exactly the excuse I'm gonna tell my raid leader when I show up with a mod. But sadly, all things are not perfect for the mod enjoyers in here, because there are a few buffs that Ferocity pets do not have, and we might be forced to go Cunning, okay? Cunning pets have buffs like the Ravager, which is 4% extra physical damage. You cannot really go without it. If you're the hunter and you don't have it, it's worth sacrificing a good pet just to take it. The Wind Serpent and the Dragon Hawk, they got 8% extra magical damage. The Spore Bats also have the Curse of Tongues in AoE. In case you are not Beastmastery, I probably wouldn't go for that, but you can, I guess. Silly Tits, that's the Bug people, okay? You can take these guys for the stamina buff if you do not have a priest, because you also hate your life. And finally, if you didn't think you destroyed your composition enough, that you didn't take Shamans or Mages into the raid, what if you didn't take Druids or Paladins either, okay? And you need the 5% stats buff, okay? You can go Tenacity, that's the tank pet. You can take the Shale Spider. Please don't do it. Please don't take the Spider. Please. I mean, if you don't take a single Druid or Paladin into your raid, you're gonna wipe anyway, but there is two things I wanna cover too, and this is gonna be a little bit of theory crafting. Okay, there is one thing that you cannot do in Cataclysm, and that is buffing pets. Now, why does it matter? Okay, for the discussion of this video, is because there is a way around it if they do not patch it, crossing fingers, okay? And that is that a pet giving a buff can buff itself. So if we are gonna theory craft a little bit here, guys, what is a pet that gives a damage buff that is also Ferocity? Because that is gonna be actually the highest damage. And the answer, there's two. The Wolf with the 5% crit, or if you are Beastmastery, you can also get the Demosaurus, the Devil Sword. They are also 5% crit. They are exactly the same as any other Ferocity pet, but they are gonna have 5% more crit than other pets because you cannot buff your pets. Now, we don't know if they're gonna change this for Cataclysm Classic. They changed a lot of weird stuff, so let's see if they patch this exploit, quote unquote, or if they actually give buffs to pets, period. We're gonna see about that. Now, I was gonna show you the build for Cunning and Ferocity, but apparently Wowhead thinks that nobody's gonna run Cunning, and I, for the life of me, couldn't find a talent calculator for Cunning, so I'm gonna show you the Ferocity one because that's probably the one you should go for anyway, I guess. Okay, your Ferocity pet talents are gonna be the following. You're gonna take, first of all, Dash. You want movement speed on your pet, of course. That's gonna help you set up again for mechanics, stuff like that. There's a lot of movement you gotta do. Of course, that couple seconds of moving, that could be a couple seconds of DPSing. You wanna pump, you gotta get Dash. Then we're gonna take Serpent Swiftness, that's attack speed. Of course, we want attack speed on a pet, 10% more damage. We're gonna take 1 point in Bloodthirsty here because your pet is gonna heal itself. And you're not gonna take the full thing, okay? Because like that thing is way too much to spend on a defensive, but you gotta spend a point here anyway. You might as well make your life easier because your healers usually do not feel like healing the pet, okay? So if you get unlucky and you do not catch a lot of AoE healing, your pet is gonna die and you're screwed. Next, we're gonna take right here Spike Collar, okay? We're gonna just do more damage, 9% more damage on our auto attacks with the pet. So of course you want that, more damage. And then we're gonna take Calling the Herd, okay? Every time we crit, we get 3% more damage. That's you and the pet, okay? So any spec is gonna like this. We are gonna take 3 points right here in Spider's Bite, because that's gonna give us critical strike. And we're gonna take 1 point in Call of the Wild, that's a buff for our attack power. Of course, we want 10% attack power, that's humongous. This right here, this talent right here is the main reason that everybody wants to go Ferocity. 10% attack power is huge no matter what spec you are. We are also gonna take 1 point here. In Rabid, your pet goes into a killing frenzy. Successful attacks have a chance to increase attack power by 5%, and it can stack. Depending what spec you are gonna use this a lot or not that much, okay? Beast Mastery works a little different. And finally, we're gonna take here 6% more damage, Shark Attack. The name is pretty cool, isn't it? So yeah, that's gonna be your level 85 build right here. You can see there is a lot of cool buffs for you, not even your pet, you too with Ferocity. Cunning doesn't have any of these really. They have some cool utility, I guess, but it is just take Ferocity if you can, please. I can already tell you, my mod is gonna kick some serious butt. I am not kidding. Like when I roll my hunter, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run all the way to Exodar Forest, Sorriterocar Forest, and I'm gonna pick one of those cute mods out there in that zone, and that's gonna be my best friend. Getting ladies completely off the picture, boys. So yeah, get ready. In the 30th, in 2 days, we're gonna do in 1 day probably when you see this, we're gonna do the Cataclysm pre-patch. I'm gonna go, I think Fairlina is gonna be the server where the cool kids go, so we're gonna go there. And I don't know, I think I'm gonna roll the Paladin first. Hunter is probably gonna be second. Cataclysm Hunter is amazing, guys. But see you there. Subscribe, leave a like, join the Discord. In the Discord, I'm gonna tell you when I'm live. And thank you for watching.